So it's been a while. It's been a few months at this point. Although I don't feel the need to explain anything, I'm getting in the habit of not repeating myself. It's still nice to give a synopsis of where things are and where they have been. But the Saturn return started. Oh baby, did Saturn return? Did things shift and change and morph as they always do, but in a much more dramatic way this time, I think. And I've been spending the last few weeks really navigating reflection at a deeper level. I've always been one to reflect about things and think about things and then express them, but I think every time I would do that and I would kind of come up from that depth, I wouldn't get the point totally. I'm still trying to understand all of that, but this time around, I was able to really recognize patterns a lot better. I was really able to find myself better in my reflections, to see myself rather than just seeing, like if I was reflecting upon a scenario, normally I would reflect and think solely about the other person that was in this scenario with me. But this last few months, I've kind of been able to turn around and see myself in those moments of reflection and really allow myself to feel the emotions and say the things out loud and the thoughts that I held back in the scenario that I'm reflecting on. And I started to have a lot more grace with myself and like forgive myself and guide myself and trust myself in those moments and like console myself, kind of like when you're in the state of remembering it. Maybe if you've had like DBT therapy, then this is something that you can relate to. But like when you see yourself in those situations, you feel like you can talk to yourself and talk yourself through those moments, and it kind of feels like you're going back in the past and changing things, and that kind of feels like you back then dealt with it better because you now have gone and coached them through it with a more enhanced or more informed experience. And so far down the line, just because, I don't know, time travel to say metaphorically, things for present you just get easier to deal with because, the timeline is now changing. So now I feel a lot calmer. I feel a lot clearer. I feel like I can feel myself in my body now versus just kind of feeling above it all the time. I used to feel really kind of just non-existent. I guess that's what depersonalization is, but I definitely have a sense of physical feeling in my body and in my mind and what I'm saying and what I'm doing versus just being in many moments at once, trying to pull them all together into whatever I am under the impression that the person in front of me wants me to be. Now I feel a lot more comfortable, now, being myself, talking to myself, acting as myself in any situation, whether I'm like at home or I'm out somewhere, like at the grocery store, or that's really the only place I'm going these days. But I just feel a lot better. I was just able to really reflect on situations and things and places and all that stuff that was really bothering me and release them finally and not hold on to them. And while that's been really beautiful these last few weeks to feel a sense of relief finally, it was very physically, sensory-wise, like really uncomfortable to experience, which is why I went away. Normally, when I'm going through something like that, people are not very kind. People see me experiencing that, not being able to, feed their ego or do something for them, and they get like genuinely angry with me. And so now that whole process is for me, and I will periodically kind of go away without notice, but I've just learned that people don't care about that while it's going on, so I stopped sharing it. But that's where I've been. And as an update to my last few videos, the person actually did reach out and we did try again, and I re-experienced why we're not together in the first place. And so that was interesting and fun. Not fun. To finally get correct this time. But now I'm just excited to see who is out there and who or what is coming, in terms of like the Saturn return, in terms of the change. And it feels like it's getting closer and closer. I keep breaking glass. I like broke a glass and then I thought, okay, that's annoying. Because I never do that. And then it happened a few more times over the course of a few days, and I was like, all right, that is not a coincidence. So I feel like a lot of things are releasing, a lot of things are changing, a lot of things are breaking and having to be replaced with something maybe more sturdy, maybe something that is, just for a metaphorical reason, something more expensive that's going to last longer, something that was made with a little bit more care. It feels like that's the general theme of things that are going on for me right now, and that's like kind of scary to think about, that it's like finally my time, because I was just kind of yelling at God in the car this morning, like, when is it my turn to be happy, which I'm going to talk about maybe in my next video, what I like the last weeks specifically of where I've been. But I have faith that it's starting to happen, not in a sense of, oh, just wait a few more days, or it's coming. Like it's happened, like it's already started now, because things now just feel really different. And so I'm in this place where I'm kind of mourning the time when I should have been resting and like not worrying about this time. And I'm also angry because in between that time of rest and now, I had to do a lot of reflecting. And now that I can see much clearer situations for what they were, I just realized it didn't have to be that way. And so there's the anger that comes with that. And then I'm also feeling really relieved that all of what has been my life so far is done, and I can breathe and things are newly starting. And I'm optimistic as well about what the possibilities are despite what is going on in the world right now. I don't want to give off that is not on my mind. It's very scary to deal with, but in terms of not allowing that all of my attention, not allowing people like that, people who are full of hate, to scare me or scare anyone or make me feel disempowered. That's what I mean. So I just feel really kind of empowered and optimistic going into this next chapter of my life, this next chapter of history, unfortunately. But it's kind of weird to navigate with all those other complicated feelings kind of stacked up alongside of it. So I just wanted to give a quick little update of where I've been, what I've been doing. Trying to not talk in my like nervous PR voice and trying to talk in my regular accent, but I've been picking up the cards again. I bought a new deck. I don't know when it's going to be here because it was from a Kickstarter, but it's very cool. I can't wait to show it to you. And I've been getting a lot deeper in the spirituality. I've been studying a lot and reading a lot of texts that my ancestors wrote, a lot of texts that come from my people essentially, and not learning spirituality and stuff off TikTok. And that's been really nice and really reaffirming to see myself reflected in literature and things that I know and have grown up with being reflected in like respected literature and media. So it's been really nice to kind of go home in that way and to feel a lot more connected and aligned and at peace. It has offered me so much peace to kind of go back to the basics. So I think I might be shifting my spiritual content a little bit. I'm definitely still going to do tarot cards, but I think there's some other things that I just feel maybe more connected to in terms of sharing spirituality that I'm going to be getting into a little bit later. But I just wanted to give an update of what's going on. I just heard myself in my ears and I realized how nervous I am, and I don't know why. Let me take a deep breath. I don't need to be nervous. I don't need to be anything. I don't need to be anyone but myself. So this is the beginning of a new chapter in my life. And I think in history and humanity at large, which is why this feels so major and why for me, it kind of scares me that this new chapter of my life is happening at the same time, that I'm going to be kind of discovering who I am and what I'm capable of during all of this. But I think something new is starting for everybody. I don't think it's just about me anymore. And I don't have the shame or the fear that I used to use phrases like intuitive or spiritual or like any kind of practitioner, any word that someone would place on feeling really connected to the human experience. I don't have shame to put a label on that anymore. And so I'm just really ready to, I hope I'm not biting off more than I could chew here, but I'm really ready to dive in and see what that's going to be like, and see what I'm capable of, what is out there, what is something to be experienced, I guess, and who it's possible to experience that with. Like kind of expanding my idea of who's around me and who's in my life, and not holding on to people who don't really want to be here anymore. And like now that I have so much more space after kind of clearing things out that were kind of just hanging around, it's so much easier to breathe. It's so much easier to plan. It's so much easier to think. And it's just been uncomfortable because I'm trying to integrate where my mind is with how I appear, which can be hard in the world that we are living in, which is why sometimes my accent's going to come in and out, because I'm learning to get used to hearing it and seeing my face at the same time, like on a camera on my phone screen. So this is the start of a new chapter, and I'm really excited. And I'm glad that you're here with me. Even if you go and come back and go on your own little journey, I am happy and grateful that you're here with me, and I'm excited to see how things are going to change for all of us. I'm optimistic that they will change in a good way and not in a devastating bad way. So the best thing we can have right now is faith, not in anything external. That's the trick, and that's a tip I want you to keep, is that your moral compass should be internal. Your faith should be internal. And when you have your internal faith, all of the faith that has been shoved down your throat will make so much more sense. And that makes things so much easier to deal with. And we can get to that later, like the spiritual side of everything. But yeah, I'm just excited to see where everything's going to go. So I'm going to go get some more rest, and I'm going to do some more planning, and I'll be back sooner than you think. Okay? So I love you. I hope that you all are doing well. I'm really excited, despite crashing out occasionally. And yeah, talk to you soon.